Police told Kim Zolciak to stop calling isn't an emergency. Police have told YHOA alum Kim Zolciak to stop calling because at this point, it is not an emergency. The mother of 6 is embroiled in a divorce with her husband of over a decade, Kroy Bierman. Yet things have been so dramatic that the cops are always being called. So why did the authorities tell Kim to calm down on the calls? Keep reading for more details. Police to Kim Zolciak, stop calling. For a decade, Kim Zolciak and Kroy Bierman were an extremely happy couple. He had adopted her 2 older daughters, Brielle and Ariana, from her previous relationships. They then went on to have 4 children of their own and had the perfect little family. Unfortunately, Kim loved to gamble and shop, leading to financial distress. In 2022, their lavish Georgia mansion faced foreclosure, but they dodged it until early 2023. Then it all resurfaced and they faced an auction. Once again, they were able to get out of that, but a short time later, they filed for divorce. Allegations were thrown at one another, and though they tried to reconcile, that did not last. The police were soon called to their home, becoming a repeated event. She alleged he would not let her leave their driveway while he was at the end of his rope. They were locking themselves into bedrooms, and their poor minor children were the casualties. Just before Thanksgiving, the police were called yet again. Since their home is headed to auction, they were packing and taking down the curtains. Kim Zolciak claimed Kroy Bierman was the aggressor, but he alleged she struck him. Their children could not necessarily corroborate Kim's story, but the police want Kim to stop. A Reddit thread was started to share how they had to let Kim know they could not keep coming to Kim's home simply because of divorce spats. Followers felt awful for the children, but moreover, could not believe this was still happening. Will it end? The big question that followers want to know is whether will it ever end for Kim Zolciak and Kroy Bierman. This has been going on for nearly 2 years with no end in sight. I can't believe this is still ongoing. I think there is some weird-ass codependency and trauma bonding with them at this point. Any relationship she has ever been in, or will ever be in, will end this way. She is a terrible person. It took Kroy a very, very long time to figure it out. The level of selfishness exhibited by these two, who have like 6 children, is despicable. Quit calling the police over this petty crap. Grow up and act like adults. Hopefully, some resolution is reached so that they all can find peace, and the children stop getting dragged into the drama. Kim Zolciak stood in her sprawling, glamorous foyer, a crystal chandelier glinting overhead. Her perfectly manicured nails tapped furiously on her phone screen as she paced in her glittery Louboutin heels. The ex-Real Housewives of Atlanta star was in a state of utter disbelief. The police had told her, Kim Zolciak, to stop calling. Kim had spent years crafting her reality TV persona, larger-than-life wigs, dramatic storylines, and an unwavering belief that the world revolved around her. But this felt personal. They just don't understand, she muttered to herself, flipping her platinum blonde hair over one shoulder. This is an emergency. She glanced at the clock. It was 11:23 p.m. The neighbors might have been in bed, but Kim was wide awake, her mind racing. She wasn't calling about just anything. Nope, she was calling about justice. The first call, it all started 3 days ago when Kim noticed something odd. The hydrangeas in her front garden had been trimmed. Not just trimmed, massacred. Their once fluffy blooms were now sad, jagged remnants. To Kim, it was an affront to her personal kingdom. Who does this? She fumed, snapping a photo and posting it to Instagram. To whoever destroyed my flowers, karma is coming for you. Kim's followers flooded the comments with theories. Some blamed jealous neighbors. Others suspected paparazzi trying to sneak a shot. Kim's favorite theory came from a fan who suggested it was a rival housewife trying to sabotage her aesthetic. Fueled by righteous indignation, Kim dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? Yes, hi, this is Kim Zolciak, she began, as if her name alone explained the gravity of the situation. I'd like to report a crime. What kind of crime, ma'am? Someone destroyed my hydrangeas. It's clearly premeditated. They knew exactly where to cut. There was a long pause. Ma'am, this isn't something we classify as an emergency. Kim's jaw dropped. Excuse me. These flowers were perfect. Do you know how much they cost? This is vandalism. What if the person comes back? What if they're dangerous? The operator tried to calm her down, but Kim wasn't having it. Eventually, an officer was dispatched to her home, where he took down her statement with a mixture of bemusement and mild exasperation. The second call. By the next day, Kim was convinced she was being stalked. She noticed footprints near her pool and swore she heard faint giggles near her outdoor kitchen. They're toying with me, she told her daughter, Brielle, over FaceTime. This is psychological warfare. Brielle, lounging in bed with her ring light illuminating her face, sighed. Mom, are you sure it's not just the gardeners? Or like squirrels? Squirrels don't leave Nike footprints, Brielle, Kim snapped. Once again, she called the police. 911, what's your emergency? It's Kim Zolciak again, she said, her voice laced with urgency. I'm being stalked. There are footprints by my pool, and I think someone's been watching me. Did you see anyone? No, but I felt it. I have great instincts. Ma'am, unless you've seen someone or have tangible evidence, there's not much we can do. Kim was aghast. So you're saying I have to wait until something terrible happens? That's how horror movies start. The operator remained professional but firm. We'll make a note of your concerns, but this still doesn't qualify as an emergency. The breaking point. By the third call, Kim's reputation with the local police department had taken a nosedive. This time, it was about a suspicious car parked near her driveway. It was an unassuming Toyota Corolla, but to Kim, it might as well have been an unmarked surveillance van. They're casing my house, she told the dispatcher. The dispatcher, clearly recognizing her voice, sighed audibly. Ms. Zolciak, we've explained this before. Unless there's immediate danger. This is immediate. What if they're planning to break in? What if they want to hurt my kids? The dispatcher paused, probably weighing their patience against their professionalism. Have you spoken to your HOA? They might have security measures for the neighborhood. Kim scoffed. The HOA, please. They're useless. I pay taxes. You work for me. That was the final straw. Later that evening, Kim received a call from the precinct. An officer, clearly weary, explained that her frequent calls were becoming an issue. Ms. Zolciak, while we take every report seriously, the situations you've described don't meet the threshold for emergency response. We ask that you reserve 911 for actual emergencies. Kim couldn't believe what she was hearing. Are you saying I'm banned from calling the police? No, ma'am, we're just asking you to use discretion. Discretion? Kim repeated, her voice climbing an octave. Do you know who you're talking to? I have millions of followers who will hear about this. The officer remained unfazed. We appreciate your cooperation, ma'am. Have a good night. A new plan. Kim hung up, fuming. She felt betrayed, not just by the police, but by the very system that was supposed to protect her. But if there was one thing Kim Zolciak knew how to do, it was turn adversity into opportunity. She immediately called her publicist. I've been silenced, she declared dramatically. The police are refusing to take my safety seriously. We need to go public. Her publicist hesitated. Kim, are you sure this is the angle you want to take? People might not. Just set it up, Kim interrupted. I'll do a live stream. The people need to know. Within hours, Kim was in front of her ring light, addressing her followers in full glam. She recounted the injustices she'd faced, the neglect by local authorities, and the constant danger she lived under. The live stream went viral, but not for the reasons Kim had hoped. The comments were a mix of sympathy, ridicule, and outright disbelief. Kim, it's just flowers, babe, one follower wrote. Call the Kardashians. They'll know what to do, joked another. But the one that stunned the most was, maybe the police are right. This isn't an emergency. Reality sets in for the first time in years. Kim felt truly deflated. She prided herself on being unbothered, but this was a blow to her ego. Brielle, always her voice of reason, called her out the next day. Mom, maybe you should just let it go. Like, focus on something else. Kim sighed, twirling a strand of her hair. Maybe you're right.